Good morning, everybody. This is Fago Franklin III with New Stitch Media. Today, I am joined by the first woman R&B singer of Def Jam Records, Alyson Williams. How you doing today?
I'm good, Fago. I'm good. I am blessed to see another day.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Before we start talking about your career in the music industry, can you give my fans a little bit of words of encouragement as we go through today, as well as each and every day? Because I know today is especially hard with the election.
Yeah, we're as a nation, as a planet, going through a lot of things. I mean, we have the election, of course, right here in the United States, but we're still going through a global pandemic. We are still experiencing the effects of the uprisings concerning civil injustice, and it's all kind of on top of us, And the best thing we can do is to continue to be steadfast with our faith, stay prayed up, and even though it feels like it's monumental, what can you do? How can you fix it? Or what can I do to make things better? As an individual, just start from a place of love. If we start from a place of love, hate can't win. That's that's how I feel. If we start from a place of love, hate can't win. So that's got to be your starting point at all times.
Amen. Thank you for those encouraging words. So we're going to jump right into your career. So what got you actually intrigued about being a singer?
Well, as a kid, I guess everybody grows up, what do you want to be? I want to be a doctor. I want to be a nurse. I want to be an astronaut. I always wanted to entertain. And I think my first feelings of, well, what do you want to do when you grow up? I wanted to be a gymnast. I wanted to be an Olympic gymnast. And as I continued to grow, I realized that was not going to happen. Gymnast of this big. And I just, I came around at a time when training for those kinds of things wasn't readily available. You had to really go away to a camp, and you know what I'm saying? It was a big to do. Whereas now, there are gymnastic training. You can get to it easily, and it wasn't like that. And I saw that my parents, between sending me to parochial school, Catholic school with a tuition, and the dance lessons and the singing lessons, piano lessons, it was a lot. So I was like, well, I also don't want to be a burden. You know what I mean? I'm blessed to have all of these other areas where they're nurturing me. So then it became, well, you can be a figure skater. And I did learn to skate, but I just, I don't like the cold. I realized I'm not that girl. But I think what I always wanted was to have the feeling of flight. I wanted that freedom of flight. And the freedom of flight came because the neighborhood that I lived in didn't really champion around the kid that was doing all the things that I was doing. So I was a victim of bullying and a lot of things like that. So I wanted to go away from where I was. I wanted something that would take me away and literally lift me out of that. Why is somebody tripping because I don't have a certain kind of sneaker? Why is somebody tripping because my hair is a certain length and my skin is a certain color? Why am I dealing with these issues? And I think I was very sensitive to it, because I call myself a oops baby, because I'm 10 years younger than my sibling. So they didn't expect it. So consequently, I grew up around a lot of grown people. So I was around a very mature environment from the beginning. So why are y'all tripping when you get to with your peers? They're still in a whole nother young mind, and it's like, that doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense to me. It was I just needed to leave. I wanted to go. But I finally I decided I wanted to sing. My father was a jazz trumpet player. He had a 21-piece swing band, so jazz music was in the house, along with all other genres, but that was the mainstay. And I wanted to sing, but I was shy with my singing because I felt like a nerd. I felt like I felt like a techno geek. I felt like a nerd because the music that I was familiar with and the music that I loved to sing was not like what my colleagues were doing. Either they would come up in the church, and so they had a whole nother thing, and they had little riffs and runs, and I was like, because I'm singing the Great American Songbook, it's a little straighter, you know, and has a different tone and texture. And I felt I wouldn't be accepted, so I, you know, kind of shied away. But I always sang. I sang. I danced. I became a scholarship student with the Dance Theater of Harlem. I danced with many dance companies, and I continued to grow. And then the theater and theater arts were there, the acting, stage plays, and things like that. So I came up seeing the few African American faces like a Diane Carroll or Sammy Davis or a Pearl Bailey, Lola Falana. They sang, danced, and acted, and so that was always my thought. Later on in life, I heard they call that a triple threat. I had no idea. I just knew it was I needed to cover all the bases. So the singing, the dancing, and the acting came together, and here I am today. But it was the influence of my parents that gave me that spark.
As a Black woman with being in this industry at that time, what challenges did you face and that you had to overcome?
When I was able to get from my house to where I needed to go, because that was a challenge in itself. Getting out of the building and having to deal with all the different characters that lived on that stoop. They didn't have a place to go. They didn't have a dance lesson or a concert or a theater ticket. They had that stoop, and so I always had to come up against that. But once I got to where I was going, I found that, and as I matured, I found my obstacles were proving that a female could be just as good at it as anyone else. You know, I knew a lot of female musicians, not necessarily singers, but musicians, and they always had to be up against that male-dominated world, almost like, oh, you throw like a girl, you know, like that kind of thing. So I had to prove myself that I could be a musician, I could be a singer. I could, you know, I'm part of the band. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just the female or the girl. You know what I'm saying? I'm not against wrapping up some wires and carrying a mic stand out to the truck. I can do that. You know what I mean? And sometimes it just kind of made you feel like you were supposed to be just sit and be pretty or something like that. You know, or maybe you won't be a part of the decision-making process when it comes to where and how the band will move forward and things like that. So those were the things that kind of gave me issues. When I got to college, I also remember there was only one African-American instructor, professor there in the dance department. I had gotten a scholarship to Marymount Manhattan, and I went in on a dance scholarship. She decided that she wanted to go back out on the road with Alvin Ailey. So she left me there at Marymount with no African-American instructors, no one who knew my world. And I remember the professors, the other dance professors, and they knew this stuff, but they told me, you'll do well in musical theater, but you'll probably never dance in a company like the Metropolitan Ballet. And I was taken aback for a minute, but what saved me from really just being devastated was that Arthur Mitchell had already told me that my body type was perfect, and I didn't have any words. I could dance any dance I wanted to. All I had to do was figure out where I wanted to be and what genre I wanted to pursue and excel in. So all that other stuff they were telling me was like, really? Oh, I'm only cut out to tap? Oh, I'm only cut out for modern jazz? I don't think so. So those were the things that, just a couple of the things that I came up against as I tried to make my rise.
What advice will you give women in general with not getting into the perception of things and just staying true to their identities?
Do just that. I was very blessed to be mentored by our beloved Dr. Maya Angelou. And she would tell me, you know, never be afraid to ask for what you want, just be prepared to pay for what you get. And she would also instill, you must do something and do it so well that they can't take their eyes off of you. And so I think always being able to feel that you can be vocal, you can ask for what you want because you are deserving of it, you will work hard for it, and then also to just strive to be the best. If that is your main goal is to be the best, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. You're going to come up against obstacles. It happens. That's what life is. But that confidence, it comes from the mindset of I can do this and I can be the best.
Describe that emotional feeling when you signed with Def Jam.
My emotional feeling started way before the actual signing because there was a small label. I'm trying to make sure. I think it was Prep Street. I want to say Prep. Anyway, it was a small label that they were trying to launch before Def Jam, and Russell Simmons was managing Curtis, and Curtis was the person who introduced me to Russell. I had been doing all the session work for Curtis. I was his hook girl. I had they're playing basketball, and I rule the world. All the foundational rap music that came from the Fat Boys and AJ Scratch with Grandmaster, this one, that, and the other. I performed that music. I co-arranged and contracted those sessions. So we were already in the midst. Russell would say every day, about 25 times a day, I'm going to create this. I got to create this label. It's going to be the dopest, most depth underground label for underground artists, and he did that. In the meantime, I went off and did something with Capitol Records really quick. I was with a group called High Fashion, which was myself, Melissa Morgan, and Eric McClintock out of Detroit, and that lasted about 2 years. Well, by the time these 2 and 3 year periods passed, they had put the label together, and so you had people like myself and Orange Juice Jones and Tayshawn and Chuck Stanley. We were the R&B division, but then you had people like Houdini and Jekyll and Hyde, Public Enemy, LL Cool J, and we were there from the very beginning. So we picked the colors and we picked the logo and we picked, we were in the decision-making process of what the label would look like from the public. So to say, how did I feel when I signed? It was great to finally get the music done, but we had already been in the trenches building it brick by brick. So I can tell you the feeling of almost swerving off the road when I first heard my record on the radio in the car. I can tell you that was a little scary.
Okay, yeah, tell me.
Yeah, I heard the song and it came on and it, the first time you hear yourself on the radio is an incredible time. And I can remember the very that's the Def Jam music. With the Capitol music, I had friends that if you're not a musician, you don't see the 8 and 9 o'clock morning drive time in the morning. We work at night, and so we tend to rise a little later. But my friends were not going to let me not. If they heard it on the radio in the morning, they were calling me. WBLS, Alyson, they got it on the. Oh man! And they'd wake me up, and I'd get up and turn on the radio, and there it would be. So it's always a good feeling to hear your music on the radio, and when it's your new project and it's fresh and new, it wells you up, and you just a feeling of euphoria.
What inspired Just Call My Name? That is actually one of my favorites.
Oh, it's my favorite too. So here's the deal. When we would be, before we moved to our first real home, there was a very small office that we would all go to. That was Russell's office, and it was very tiny. Like I said, there was a desk for the secretary and then some chairs around the wall, and then a room next to that was his office. So we lined up in these chairs, and everybody had their cassette because they wanted Russell to hear what they were working on. And you didn't even really want to get up and go to the bathroom because he might come into the office, we're waiting on him, and then you lose your spot. The first person sitting in the first chair gets to put their cassette in first. If you get up and go out, somebody's going to take this out and put theirs in. It's like that. And so I would take my music in, and because of my background being more legitimate theater or like I said, jazz, my writing wasn't what they envisioned for me or for that label. They wanted more of an R&B, and then they were trying to figure out hip hop before we even had hip hop in the vernacular. But that's what we were trying to do. They wanted to take me and kind of mold me in a more urban type of presentation, which is not a problem. My music that I was writing didn't reflect that. So Russell said to me on one day, "Don't worry about material for you, Alyson. We'll find material for you." And that was okay, except for it in my mind, in my young mind at that time, it said to me, "Your music's not good enough." So I stopped writing. I just stopped. It broke me completely because what he didn't say was, "This is not what we envisioned for you, this style of music that you're bringing in. We'll find the music for you, but don't stop writing because maybe we can get this music to who it fits." You know what I'm saying? They could have nurtured my writing at that time, but they didn't. Maybe he didn't know to say that. I don't know. I don't think he meant to break my spirit, but I stopped writing and began to, I guess I put all of my efforts into stage presentation. That became my thing. I knew what I wanted to do on that stage. I knew how I wanted it to come off. And because I had experience with performing with live band and performing with dance and all that, so that became it. I wrote, but I didn't take it seriously anymore. I finally got back to it. But I say all that to say, I went out to visit a friend of mine on the West Coast. I went out to visit friends on the West Coast, and this incredible writer was there, and I went to go and visit them in the studio. Mm-hmm. And they were working on Just Call My Name. Denzel Miller was in the studio with, oh gosh, what is his name? This incredibly wonderful writer and background singer, session singer, James Ingram's brother, Philip Ingram. Okay. So Philip and them are partners, and they're working. Denzel was like the golden child at that point. He's being, mentored by Quincy Jones and all of those, and he had been brought from New York to LA to work for the labels and to create music for all the top artists. So Just Call My Name could have been anybody's song. But that day I was in the studio, he was working, I'm in the green room playing whatever we played back then, Pong. And so when they were done with the session, putting the vocals down, he said, Alyson, come in here. I want you to sing me a female lead. Because Philip had already done all the backgrounds and done a male lead. He said, I want to just hear from a female perspective. I know you know the song because you've been here 8 hours. You know what. So I went in and I sang the song one time, straight down. And then everybody got really quiet, and they pushed the button, the talkback button in the studio, and he said, Alyson, are you in love right now? And I said, no, not particularly. He said, there's somebody you have on your heart that you're trying to get to or something. And I said, no, not really. He said, because I want to know how you knew to sing this song this way. I said, well, like you said, I've been here all day long. I've been listening to it in my own mind the way I think I would sing it. And this is what it is. I just, it's a love song, and it should be sung like this. So when I saw that he was extremely, I knew when I heard them doing it, I said, I got to get Russell to talk to Denzel, because this is my song. This song is mine. I don't know what Russell ever going to find for me, but I know I found this one. So the two Queens boys got to talking, and they Russell heard the song, and I guess he agreed as well. And that's how we made the deal, because that song was going off to be with all the other songs to be listened to by Patty Austin and whoever else whatever other label they were going to send it to, for whatever artist needed material. But that one was pulled from the bunch and given to me. The next time I sang it, Denzel came to New York. We had an all live band. Denzel, who else? Omar Hakeem, Barry East. We just had an incredible group of great live musicians. I think that's another reason that makes Just Call My Name a special song, because you cannot replace the human element. I don't care how many computers and keyboards and whatever you have. It was live, and it was played live. So I sang it down again one time. About 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, the studio calls my house. And they're like, we need to find Russell. I said, well, he's not here. I said, I have a number on him. And I'm like, what's going on? Nobody wanted to say anything. We just need to find Russell. Come to find out, the engineer's intern accidentally erased the first verse of the song.
Oh. Ooh.
And Denzel's on a plane now on his way back to LA. It's early, he's getting ready to get out of town, and all the musicians are back wherever they are. So it was like I had to come in and do that one verse again, and that's the story of Just Call My Name. They teased me. They say, Alyson, if we would have let you keep singing it, you'd be singing it in the studio still today. And it never gotten released, because I'm a perfectionist, and every little thing I was like, no, I want to fix that. No, I want this. One more time. One more time. I said, no. We got it an hour ago. But Just Call My Name. I love the song because it touches people, and it touches each individual in a different way. It's a song that can reflect the love of a man to a woman in a relationship, or it could be your cousin, or your good friend, or your god sister and brother, or your relatives. Just Call My Name is universal in that way.
So what inspired your new song, Summer Nights in Harlem?
Well, Summer Nights in Harlem is pays homage to the music that I grew up on. As I said, I grew up in a jazz household. And I always wanted to sing jazz, and I always wanted to sing the music that I heard from a Nancy Wilson, who was a mentor as well, or a Carmen McRae. Ella Fitzgerald's my favorite all-time singer. Even the male singers like Joe Williams and Billy Eckstine. I listened to these wonderful voices and these great orchestrations. You know what I mean? It was just beautiful. It was the strings and horns and all of this flavor. And I had grown up on that, and that's what I wanted to do. So I had an opportunity. This wonderful producer, songwriter, Maurice Lynch, approached me about doing some songs in a musical review that was a Harlem Renaissance type of, the story of Harlem and Renaissance, the Renaissance and the music of Harlem and Motown and soul music, and how that all came together and created this wonderful tapestry that is the backdrop of our lives. So that's what he wanted. And he was told by a mutual friend, if you need someone that sings jazz, you need to go find Alyson Williams. So he came and he found me. But when I heard the music, I said, listen, I don't have a problem being in your show. I would love to be a part of the production, but you must give me an opportunity to sing these songs for myself. I want them to have another platform. I want them to have another life. I want them to be a part of my project. You know what I mean? And I hadn't even tried to figure out, I knew what songs I thought I wanted to sing. And there were a couple of original songs in the works. But when these two songs, Summer Nights in Harlem and The Romance of You, came to me, immediately I knew what it would feel like and what it needed to be. Me being from Harlem, you know, I had that connection to it, and just the feel of it was so grown and sexy and fresh and new, even though it felt like something from an era gone by. I call them new school standards. You know, standards like a Misty, standards like My Funny Valentine, standards like I Wish You Love, those kinds of, you know, iconic standards. I want 10, 15, 20 years from now, some other singers and musicians to want to play this song, these songs in their repertoire. The way that I've gone back and gotten, you know, other songs that you know, have stood the test of time. So that's how Summer Nights in Harlem came about. And when we decided to co-produce, his job was produce the music, and my job was to produce the personnel. So I went out and I got Christian McBride, Christian Sands, Ulysses Owens, Ron Blake, Kirk Whalum, Ray Chu, Solomon Hicks, Greg C. Just the best of the best from not only the jazz world, but beyond. Jazz, traditional straight ahead jazz, smooth jazz, R&B, and they all came together and they said, whatever you want, whatever you need from us, that's what we're gonna give you. We want to help you get this project done and get you to the next level because you deserve it. And this is some great music. It needs to be out there. And that's how it happened.
If you could do a duet with one of these new age singers, who would it be?
Well, now see, I want to say define new age because there's a you know, couple of things. I can tell you who I'd like to work with. I would like to do a duet with Gregory Porter.
Okay.
I would like to work with Kim, and I would like to do something funky with Bruno Mars.
Nice.
You know, so that's where I am. And of course, one of my dreams, I got to get to Tony. I know he's not new school; he's the old school for sure. I got to get to Tony Bennett before the day is done. Okay, that's what you know. So, you know, but like I said, and on the jazz thing, I'd love to get with Harry Connick. You know, God gave out a lot of gifts, and everybody's got their own unique thing, and I'm happy with what I got. But I realized that the singing itself it's more than that. It's not the singing itself; it's the diversity of my gift. So I've been given a gift that allows me to sing a lot of different genres of music authentically, and it's not a problem for me to sing jazz or to sing R&B or to sing house music or to sing gospel, you know, or Christian, you know, inspirational music. So or pop music. So I have a lot of work to do, which is a good thing. And I intend to delve into all of those arenas and hopefully put something out there that will satisfy the appetite of the people who like that kind of music. You know what I'm saying? If you're a house head, whatever I do on that platform, I'm gonna try to make it the best house music that I can produce. And the same with all the other genres. So
Amen.
That's it.
And my last question for today is, what encouraging words can you give young artists that are trying to break into the industry with having faith and having patience when they're rejected?
Well, there's going to be rejection. And sometimes that's what you need, because that might not be where you're supposed to be. There is nothing can stop you from having what is for you. Mm-hmm. Not another opportunity, not another song, not another deal. Or when it's your time, it's going to happen. And you got to believe in that. But you must also still be proactive in keeping yourself going. And it goes back to the first question. How do we get through today? Or how do we get through our lives one day at a time? Staying prayed up, staying faithful, and trusting in your gift. Cheryl Pepsi Riley, my sister, always says, trust your gift. Trust your gift. Do everything you can to better your gift, to hone your craft. Practice. If you can afford it, try to take a lesson here or two. Find a lesson that's free if you need to. Go and invest in yourself. We don't have any place we can go now, but we can go online. Go watch somebody that you wouldn't normally go and watch, because you're going to be able to take something away from that person, whether it's their tone, their breathing, the way they hold the microphone, the way, I would always tell students, go see somebody you wouldn't see. Mm-hmm. You want to go see Beyonce, that's fine. But when Johnny Mathis comes to town, go see him. Mm-hmm. Because you're going to learn something. And I want you to take in the whole venue. I want you to see how you can see the tech people. I want you to see that the show starts at 8 o'clock. I want you to see, you know what I'm saying? That there's that there's a way that these things are put together, and when what you want to do is strive for excellence. So you want to be able to put together a do and a don't column. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then study that. And then study that, because you're going to be able to get something from everybody, whether it's for you or whether it's like, nah, that's not. I don't think I want to roll like that. Or that wasn't a good decision. They shouldn't have made us wait 45 minutes for somebody to come and sing us a song. That's not good, Mm-hmm. But how about, like I said, everything started on time. This is a union house. As an artist, you need to know all you need to know. So it's all about getting knowledge, paying attention, and realizing that the biggest word in show business or music business is business. Mm-hmm. And I know that's a lot to take in, but that's what it takes. If you want to be in this business, know the business and hone your craft. Know that your craft is a gift from God and honor it that way.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Thank you for joining me on this show. I would love for you. Yes. I love everything you were saying, the encouraging words, as well as your journey. And I would love to hear your new album when it comes out.
Hopefully we'll be able to complete it by the top of the year or in the top of the year. Like I said, there's Summer Nights in Harlem, and it's available on all the platforms. And you'll also see a song called The Romance of You, which is a beautiful ballad. And everybody just do their best to please support music, keep live music alive, support artists, every artist on every level, whether you perform in stadiums or studios, or whether you do small clubs or theaters. Everybody's out of work right now. So we need you to go and buy the music. We need people to go out there. Music is $1.99 now. That's how it's ended up at this point in time. So do your best to support, because every little bit helps, and we all need the help.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Thank you again, and we will definitely talk soon, my friend.
Please. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.
Yes, ma'am. You too. Have a blessed one.
Peace.
Yes, ma'am.